Celtic Frost. First question is, how do you say it? Celtic or Celtic?
I say Celtic.
Okay. How long has the band been a band?
For 22 years.
22, and you took a break there for a little while, right?
The band was completely burnt out musically, financially, personally, business-wise, and it was overdue that the band would split up in 1993. We should have split up much earlier.
Really? Why?
Well, ask the record industry. I don't know why. I didn't ruin the band.
Okay.
Celtic Frost's entire career has been a huge struggle against record companies, against management, against musicians who wanted to take advantage as parasites, liars, and we didn't want that. We didn't invite that.
Okay. What made you get it back together?
My friendship with Martin.
Okay, and you're on Century Media now.
No, we're not.
You're not?
We're on our own record company. We have licensed the album to Century Media to distribute it.
Really?
We have formed our own record company to prevent what happened to us in the 1980s.
What happened in the 80s?
I wrote the 300-page book, and that's only half of the manuscript about what happened in the 80s. How can I answer that in one question?
Okay.
I mean, everything you can imagine in this fucking recording industry happened. Everything. I mean, they stole hundreds of thousands in the 80s from us. They ruined tours. They cancelled video clips. It was, I mean, beyond. They stole equipment, everything. They messed with our recordings. They messed with our production. They messed with album artwork. They messed with song lineups. Everything, every single thing you can think of, they did.
Well,
there's a reason why the band fizzled out and why all the members left, and I was the only one still there. There's a reason. Celtic Frost's career was a struggle. That's not a cliche to sound cool.
It just was hell.
Yes, and that's why we came back. We decided we control everything. From the last little sentence on every press release to the recording and who's the producer and everything. We financed everything ourselves. We formed our own record company to do that. And Century Media is merely distributing the album.
Okay.
And they've been keeping to the contract to the last letter so far.
Good, good. Do you see any change in the music industry over the years?
No, it's exactly the same.
Really?
It's exactly the same. Since I've come back in 2001, since we reformed the band, I've heard so many things, really bad things of what happened to bands and what record companies did. That I know it's exactly the same. It's dictated by greed and not by art.
You did do another band in the in between.
Yes.
Polly and Son. How did that come about? Why?
I had left the music industry entirely after the termination of Celtic Frost. I had absolutely no intention to become involved with that anymore. But I have music in my blood. I love music. That's why I became a musician in the first place. And it became impossible for me in the 90s to go to a rock concert without feeling total pain, seeing these people play, and I was out of it. So eventually my urge for music won, and a person I loosely knew called me up one day and asked if I would produce his group's album. It was like end of 94, early 95. And I said, all right, I'll produce the album. Because it was something with music, and at least I thought I could fulfill, and not just sit at home and being paid seeing all the other bands play. I didn't want to get involved in the music industry, but I loved music, so. And that person was Errol Unala, a guitar player, and we became very close friends, and in the end decided instead of me producing his album, we'd do an album on our own. That was the root of Polly and Son. And we wanted to do something different than Celtic Frost. I had already done Celtic Frost.
Right.
And almost as long as I like metal music, I like electronic music, starting with Kraftwerk in the 70s. So it was going to be a combination of heavy rock and electronica.
Okay. Have you seen a difference in the music scene itself over the years? Not so much the record companies, but...
No, I mean, there's a few new genres and there's the internet, but yes, as by and large, the mechanical dimensions of the music industry, the dynamics and everything are exactly the same.
Okay. How do you feel about the internet and its involvement in music?
It's fantastic on one hand because it gives every band a tool, it gives a band power. It makes it harder for a record company to blackmail a band because you can reach your fans directly, immediately. On the other hand, of course, it's a threat to the music industry. I load music down too from the internet, but it's if you do it illegally, I know there's two sides to everything, but it's like going into a supermarket, taking all the food from the shelves and walking out without paying, then coming back the next day and and assuming they have the money to just restock everything. That's, I mean, I'm a downloader too, but that's the fact. If you record an album, you kind of have to pay the bills for that, and it's expensive.
Right.
And if everybody just steals your music, you know.
Do you think
I don't subscribe to the Metallica school of things of just totally denying it. I'm a fan too, and I love the accessibility of music on the internet. So there's no, to me, there's no simple answer to that.
Okay.
I see the positive and the negative sides.
Do you think it hurts the bands or the record companies more?
Both.
Both.
Both on different levels. Yeah.
Okay. What kind of things inspire you to write music?
My emotions, always.
All right.
My music is my state of mind at a given time. Hence the changes from album to album. I don't deny change over the years. I embrace change. Change is life. And that's why our albums are radically different.
Well, you guys are considered sort of the avant-garde of the 80s as far as like the heavier bands go.
We're not. We were just courageous enough to allow other elements on our albums, things that we liked, other music. That wasn't pioneering, it was just honest.
Okay.
Whereas other bands try to have a high profile by writing no keyboards on this album or no whatever on this album. We said if we like this kind of music, if you like jazz, if you like new wave, if you like electronic stuff, why shouldn't it fit on our album?
Right.
We want to try it. The only difference between us and the other bands was courage.
Okay. What would you say to a band just starting out today?
Don't do it. If you don't want to be ripped off, then don't do it.
Do you think a band can survive independently today, in today's market?
Possibly, if they do it right with the internet, possibly, yeah. But it's very difficult. How do you get a tour like this one? How do you get a 47-day tour without industry backing? How do you get, if you're no newcomer, how do you get the connections to producers, to studios, all the things that you need without industry backing? That's exactly where the industry becomes a parasite. They use this necessity by young bands. They use that, and they mix it with the inexperience of young bands to gain advantage.
Okay. Is there anything good you've taken out of the music industry over the years?
Not out of the music industry. Out
Is
of
that
my
the
music and out of my friendship with Martin, yeah, everything. But out of the music industry, no, definitely not. They're motherfuckers.
Would you say it would be better off without record labels overall?
You can't. We just talked about that. You can't. What you gonna do? If you want to get your music heard, I mean, it depends what you want to do with your music. If you want to sit in your room and play acoustic guitar just for yourself or your friends, which is fine, you know, each to their own. But if you want to do that, then you can survive without a recording industry. But if you want to get your music heard, if you want fans in South America and Russia and Europe and stuff to hear your music, you need distribution, a global distribution. You need to advertise it. There's a million bands out there. They all want a place. So in order to stick out, to have your music heard, you need advertising. How are you going to do that as a private person unless you're like the son of a millionaire? How can you ever access all these channels to promote your music? How can you pay for it?
Okay.
That's what the music industry uses. They know exactly that if you want to be a serious musician, at some point or another, you will need them.
Okay. Do you see a difference from country to country? Because you've been all over the world with this, haven't you?
No, just in size, but the mechanics are the same. Maybe.
What about
Some
the
countries,
audience?
but
About the audience?
it's slightly more metal here. It's a little more varied in Europe right now, but I mean that's a minor difference.
Do you think it's been worth it all this time?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
What's made it most worth it?
It's made me a much stronger, much more radical person, by far.
Okay. You did a video for this album, and that's for which song?
A dying God coming into human flesh.
And that's a longer, slower song, isn't it?
Yes.
And this is because you had full control over it?
Yeah, of course.
Do
We
you,
made the selection what song, we made the selection how expensive the video was going to be, we made the selection who the director was going to be, everything.
have you gotten any airplay on any of the major video circuits with it?
Well, MTV has played it. MTV also claimed the right to world premiered on their website and so on. So yes, it has been recognized. It's also been on the air in Europe. And of course we made it downloadable. We didn't make it a stream, we made it downloadable for free on our website. We want everybody to have it. We don't want people to have to pay for it or just have a stream. If you want our video, you can go to our website, you can have all the videos for free.
Okay, and the website is?
www.celticfrost.com.
Okay. Are you directly involved with that then?
Of course.
All right. Is there anything else you want people to know about the band?
No.